The early 2000s were a magical blur of glittery MySpace profiles, Saturday morning cartoons, flip phones, and midnight Harry Potter releases. It was the last childhood before smartphones took over, when life felt slower but filled with wonder. Do you remember it? How old were you back then? Let's take a trip back and relive the daily life and pop culture of 2000s America together. Evenings spent glued to the family computer, waiting for that iconic ding on MSN Messenger. Screen names full of numbers, quirky fonts, and emotional away messages. You'd log in and out just to get your crush's attention, praying they'd notice. Childhood friendships were built on those glowing chat windows. Back when gaming was a group activity, not an online one. Friends piled onto beanbags with controllers in hand, screaming through rounds of Mario Party or Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo GameCube. Pizza boxes stacked nearby, sodas on the carpet. It wasn't just gaming, it was pure togetherness. That unforgettable screeching tone of dial-up internet filled every household, waiting minutes for a single page to load, all while someone yelled from the other room, "Get off the computer, I need the phone." The struggle was real, but the patience made the internet feel magical when it finally worked. Every elementary school had its Pokemon card economy. Recess wasn't about kickball, it was about trading shiny Charizards and holographic Pikachus like they were gold. Lunch tables became negotiation hubs. Teachers tried banning them, but the craze was unstoppable. Those cards weren't just cardboard, they were childhood treasures. Choosing who made it to your top 8 felt like a political decision. Friendships rose and fell depending on the order. Hours were spent customizing profiles with glitter graphics and embedded songs. MySpace wasn't just a site, it was the start of online identity, where popularity had a soundtrack. Logging on to Neopets after school was a daily ritual. Feeding your pixelated pet, playing endless games for Neopoints, and decorating your shop, it felt like its own universe. You weren't just a kid, you were an entrepreneur, a caretaker, and a gamer all rolled into one. Childhood responsibility, online style. The thrill of flipping open your first phone, usually a chunky Nokia or Motorola Razr. T9 texting felt like learning a new language. Minutes were precious. Ringtones cost money, and Snake was the best game you could play. That first vibration in your pocket meant you'd finally made it. Stuffed animals came alive when you typed in their secret codes online. Suddenly your plush toy had a house, a job, and an entire digital world. Kids begged parents for just one more Webkins, not for the toy itself, but for the portal it unlocked. A magical mix of real and virtual. AOL Instant Messenger was more than chatting. It was about the away message. Quotes from favorite bands, cryptic song lyrics, or just BRB. Every status update was a diary entry hidden in plain sight. Your buddy list felt like your whole social world, glowing with those little yellow icons. The PS2 wasn't just a console. It was an era. Days vanished into Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Guitar Hero, or Grand Theft Auto. Multiplayer meant passing controllers around, arguing about who got next turn. The graphics amazed us, but really it was the laughter and shared experiences that made it timeless. The thrill of typing in your favorite song on LimeWire, waiting forever for it to download, never knowing if you'd actually get the track or a computer virus. Burned CDs with handwritten labels became badges of honor. Music wasn't just listened to, it was hunted, collected, and shared like contraband. Tiny beeping keychains that demanded constant attention. Feed it, clean it, play with it, or it would literally die on you. Kids carried them everywhere, sneaking peeks during class to keep their pixel pet alive. It was a strange digital responsibility that felt as serious as caring for a real pet. Before influencers and ads, YouTube felt like a hidden corner of the internet. Grainy videos of funny pets, lip-syncing kids, and viral moments like Charlie bit my finger. Suddenly, anyone could upload and share with the world. It wasn't polished, it was raw, real, and the beginning of a new culture. The dual screens, the stylus, and the endless PictoChat doodles during car rides. Games like Nintendo Dogs or Mario Kart DS made kids inseparable from their handhelds. Multiplayer didn't need Wi-Fi, you just needed friends nearby. That little clamshell console wasn't just entertainment, it was a pocket-sized gateway to endless adventure. Customizing your profile meant endless scrolling through HTML codes and glitter GIFs. Music auto-played when someone clicked your page. Backgrounds sparkled with neon animations, and "Who took this quiz" links spread like wildfire. MySpace taught an entire generation basic coding just to look cooler than their friends. Halo 2 on Xbox Live was a cultural phenomenon. Headsets on, kids shouted across the globe, discovering the wild world of online gaming smack talk. It wasn't always pretty, but it was electrifying. Suddenly, gaming wasn't limited to your living room. It was everywhere, and everyone could join in. Before smartphones, it was all about chunky digital cameras. Every party had kids posing with duck faces, snapping dozens of blurry photos, and then uploading them in giant Facebook albums with titles like Summer Vibes 2006! Grainy as they were, those pictures felt priceless, capturing a generation discovering itself. Logging into Club Penguin meant endless fun. Snowball fights, dance parties, and decorating your igloo with pride. Membership meant status, and everyone dreamed of getting that rare Puffles. Saying "waddle on" wasn't just a phrase, it was a childhood farewell, sealed with virtual snow. Teachers thought they couldn't see, but kids were masters at sneaky texting under desks. Flip phones clicked quietly, thumbs moved like lightning, and notes shifted from paper to screens. Every vibration was a little adrenaline rush, proof that someone was thinking about you in the middle of math class. Arcades and living rooms alike pulsed with flashing arrows and blaring J-pop beats. Kids stopped on plastic mats, sweating to keep up with impossible difficulty levels. DDR wasn't just a game, it was exercise, competition, and a party all at once. Every misstep brought laughter, every perfect combo brought cheers. Passing notes in class was an art form. Folded like tiny origami, they carried secrets, doodles, and sometimes confessions of a crush. This was before texts ruled the halls, and opening one of those notes felt electric. Some were even sprayed with body mist, leaving the page scented with nostalgia. Gel pens in every glittery color turned notebooks into rainbows. Lisa Frank binders with neon dolphins and tigers were carried proudly through school hallways. Notes, doodles, and even homework looked brighter when written in metallic pink or electric blue. The school supply aisle wasn't just practical, it was a fashion statement. Lunch tables were silent battlefields, and Lunchables were the prize. Pizza kits, nachos, or crackers with cheese stacks made you feel like royalty if you had them. Kids compared snacks like they were currency, and somehow those little plastic trays carried more social weight than 100 cafeteria hot lunches ever could. Book fairs weren't about books alone, they were cultural events. Rows of shiny covers, stacks of Captain Underpants, Harry Potter releases, and shelves of posters or pencils with funky toppers. Kids hoarded bookmarks like treasure, begging parents for just a few extra dollars. It was learning mixed with consumer heaven. Opening a locker to reveal a flip phone hidden between textbooks felt rebellious. Messages had to be typed in secret, one button, 3 letters at a time. Passing phones between classes became a way of life, mini computers tucked inside backpacks, buzzing with friendships, crushes, and endless text conversations. AIM usernames felt like secret identities, crafted with numbers, X's, and favorite bands. At school, no one knew the depth of your late-night conversations, your dramatic away messages, or your carefully curated buddy list. In real life, you were shy, but online, you were bold, funny, and maybe even cool. Group projects weren't shared in the cloud. They were sprawled across poster boards with uneven marker handwriting and glued-on magazine cutouts. Kids gathered around someone's living room floor, crafting last-minute displays. Presenting in front of the class meant holding something physical, colorful, and crooked. Artifacts of teamwork before PowerPoint dominated the scene. Burned DVDs carried home movies, bootleg concerts, and slideshows of school trips. Kids designed Sharpie-covered discs with hearts, doodles, or inside jokes. Swapping them was like trading stories you could keep forever.
Before everything lived online, those scratched-up discs were cherished keepsakes of friendships and fleeting childhood moments. Low-rise jeans ruled the halls, paired with glittery belts and rhinestones. Kids tugged at waistbands during class, trying to keep them up while still looking trendy. Fashion was uncomfortable, but necessary. Every hallway felt like a runway, even if it was just between math and English. The lower the rise, the cooler you were. That little yellow Livestrong wristband wasn't just rubber. It was identity. Almost every wrist had one, signaling hope, solidarity, and being part of something bigger. Kids stacked them with other colored bands, clicking them together during class. For a while, those simple bracelets carried more meaning than any expensive jewelry could ever carry. Abercrombie & Fitch logos dominated hallways, the moose emblem stitched onto polos, hoodies, and jeans. The smell of its cologne seemed to follow kids from the mall to the classroom. To wear it was to belong, to be seen as stylish, even if the clothes cost an entire week's allowance. Frosted lip gloss and butterfly clips defined middle school fashion. Shiny lips that stuck to everything, sparkly clips holding together carefully straightened hair, and sometimes too much glitter dusted across cheeks. It wasn't about subtlety, it was about shimmer. The brighter and stickier the better. Every bathroom became a makeshift beauty salon. Trucker hats, once practical, became the must-have accessory thanks to Ashton Kutcher. Worn crooked or backwards, they were badges of coolness. Kids showed up to school with Von Dutch written across their heads, proving that even cafeteria conversations were runways. It wasn't fashion logic, it was pop culture peer pressure at its peak. Ugg boots stomped across linoleum hallways, paired with denim skirts or sweatpants tucked sloppily into them. Cozy, bulky, and strangely chic, they became the uniform of a generation. No winter day was complete without them, even if they soaked through in snow. They weren't just shoes. They were middle school survival gear. Layered polos with popped collars were everywhere. Kids stacked 2, sometimes 3 shirts, collars carefully popped, colors clashing boldly. Walking through the halls looked like a rainbow parade of pastel cotton. It wasn't comfortable, but it was confidence. Proof that fashion was about being seen, not being sensible. Silly bands weren't just rubber bracelets, they were status. Animals, shapes, neon colors. Kids wore them stacked to the elbows. Recess became a marketplace where trades were serious business. The rarer the shape, the more powerful the bargaining chip. Teachers hated them, parents didn't get them, but kids knew they were magic. Every hallway echoed with the sound of flip-flops smacking the floor in summer. Combined with layered tank tops and jean skirts, it was the unofficial school uniform. Flip-flops broke often, but it didn't matter. You could always snag another pair from Old Navy for cheap. Casual comfort became cool. Jansport backpacks decorated with Sharpie doodles and safety pins lined school hallways. Zippers dangled with keychains, Tamagotchis, or sometimes lip gloss tubes. Each backpack was a canvas of personality, worn and torn with pride. Carrying one felt like hauling around your whole identity, as much fashion as it was functional. Spirit Week turned schools into fashion carnivals. Pajama Day, Crazy Hair Day, Twin Day, everyone came in with something wild. Kids dug through closets for costumes, taped glitter to themselves, or matched outfits with best friends. For once, popularity wasn't about brands. It was about creativity, laughter, and showing up in style. Class pictures meant coordinating outfits and hairstyles, usually resulting in awkward trends frozen forever. Frosted tips, butterfly clips, popped collars, whatever was cool that year, ended up immortalized on glossy prints. Parents framed them, kids cringed, but decades later, those fashion missteps became beloved snapshots of who we once were. Saturday mornings weren't what they used to be. Cartoons that once ruled the airwaves started fading, replaced by infomercials and teen shows. Still, kids clung to the last colorful characters, cereal bowls in hand, knowing that they were witnessing the end of an era where mornings felt...
SpongeBob SquarePants became more than just a cartoon. It was a cultural icon. His goofy laugh, jellyfishing adventures, and pineapple home seeped into every kid's vocabulary. Quoting lines at school, collecting toys, and even watching with parents. It was silly, timeless, and somehow wise. Who lived in a pineapple? We all knew. Lizzie McGuire and Even Stevens captured the awkward chaos of middle school life. Hilary Duff made kids feel seen, with doodled thoughts on screen, while Shia LaBeouf's antics were pure comedy gold. These shows weren't just entertainment, they were comfort, like hanging out with fictional friends who understood every cringe moment. Hannah Montana gave kids the fantasy of living a double life, By day, an ordinary girl. By night, a pop superstar with glittery wigs and hit songs. Kids sang along to Best of Both Worlds in their bedrooms, secretly wondering if they too might be hiding a superstar alter ego. Drake and Josh and Zoe 101 became Nickelodeon staples, each episode filled with quotable moments and laughter. Sleepovers often ended with marathons, kids imagining themselves at PCA's dreamy campus or getting into Drake and Josh's ridiculous sibling chaos. These weren't just shows. They were alternate realities kids wanted to live in. Cartoon Network defined childhood with Ed, Edd and Eddy, Teen Titans, and countless others. Afternoons meant laughter, action, and a little chaos. Every kid had a favorite tune, and playgrounds buzzed with reenactments of episodes. It wasn't just animation, it was imagination turned into daily ritual, drawn straight into our hearts. Reality TV crashed into the culture with Survivor and Big Brother. Families gathered around to watch strangers compete, form alliances, and betray each other, all while living on islands or inside houses. It was new, raw, and addictive. Suddenly, regular people were the stars, and drama felt more real than ever. Then came the Kardashians. Keeping Up debuted quietly, but exploded into a phenomenon, redefining fame. Kids didn't know if they loved them or rolled their eyes, but everyone was watching. Their drama, fashion, and larger-than-life personalities dominated pop culture, making reality TV less about games and more about glam. Midnight book releases for Harry Potter turned bookstores into magical playgrounds. Kids lined up in pajamas, clutching wands, racing home to read all night. The movie premieres felt like events, with theaters packed and fans dressed as wizards. For one generation, Hogwarts wasn't fiction, it was a second home. Lord of the Rings was more than a movie. It was an epic journey. Friends gathered for marathon sessions, snacks piled high, ready to trek through Middle-earth together. Every battle, every speech, every sweeping scene felt larger than life. For many, it was the first time cinema felt like legend. Mean Girls didn't just entertain, it rewired school culture. Suddenly, kids were quoting lines in the cafeteria, wearing pink on Wednesdays, and laughing about fetch. It made high school drama hilarious and relatable, and somehow it became a handbook of social survival, funny, biting, and endlessly quotable. Then came Twilight. Suddenly, high school hallways divided into Team Edward and Team Jacob. Girls wore shirts, carried posters, and fiercely defended their side. Midnight screenings were packed with squealing fans, gasping at every smoldering stare. Whether you loved it or hated it, Twilight owned the late 2000s. Shrek flipped animated movies upside down. With its snarky humor, pop songs, and fairy tale parodies, it appealed to kids and adults alike. Suddenly, ogres, donkeys, and talking gingerbread men were cultural icons. Everyone could quote it, laugh at it, and secretly love its heartwarming message about real love. Pixar magic glowed with Finding Nemo and The Incredibles. Families cried, laughed, and cheered at talking fish or superhero parents. These weren't just cartoons, they were emotional journeys, teaching lessons while dazzling us with animation that felt revolutionary. Pixar gave kids stories that grew with them, staying unforgettable well into adulthood. Spider-Man swung onto screens, making everyone believe in heroes again. Tobey Maguire's awkward charm and thrilling action scenes pulled kids into theaters, sparking a wave of superhero love that would define the next 2 decades. For the first time, superhero movies weren't just niche, they were mainstream, and we were hooked. High School Musical took kids by storm. Suddenly, everyone was singing "We're All in This Together" at slumber parties or talent shows. Disney turned high school into a glittery, dance-filled fantasy where even basketball players broke into song. It wasn't just a movie, it was a movement, echoing through every cafeteria.